back to more farming with family. We're getting the air seeder filled up with fertilizer for the night. Macy's helping me. This stuff is called MESC. So it's just the starter fertilizer we put down for soybeans. Here's my front tank that I put fertilizer in. Then the back one is where I put my soybeans, or seed. The Macy watches down there, then I watch up here. Alright, got it filled up. Got really close to the top, but I did some shoveling, so I got a little more room. I'll clean out my auger, and then we'll get it going. So after I finish filling, I always run my auger backwards and get whatever fertilizer is in this tube. I get it out because fertilizer has a lot of salt in with it, and if it gets any moisture, it can be very, very corrosive and cause the rust and bearings and everything to go out. So I put it in a little barrel. It's probably about a 5-gallon bucket worth, and then I just throw it in the seeder before I go. To go. Pull my handle, turn the fan back on. We're in business, time to go plant some soybeans. I always do a little test before I start. So it's my crank, I can put a few seeds out. Then I go back behind, make sure that I have soybeans out of each row. I just go along and look, make sure they're all coming out evenly, that I don't have nothing plugged. So the back row I plant my soybeans with in 15-inch rows, and then the front I put down my fertilizer. That's a little bit harder to see because it looks like little rocks. Well, I just got out and checked my seed depth, make sure that's in the right spot, seeds are being spaced properly. Make sure that it's not pin herring where it will dig a trench but it won't put the seed in far enough because it can't cut through the trash. And sometimes that happens at night when it starts to get damp out, but so far everything looks good in this field. This was soybeans last year, and so there's not a whole lot of trash to cut through. So it's actually doing a pretty good job. So there is a chance of rain for tomorrow, so I'm hoping to keep going for a while yet tonight. It's about 11:50, so we'll just keep on going and see what we can get done. So here you can see on my monitor speed, I'm going about 5.5 miles an hour. My tanks are full. This one, the sensor in the front, even though it's all the way full, it doesn't want to say anything. So I just get out and check that one. I kind of know about how many acres I can do. Right here it shows me how many acres I can do per hour, so roughly about 20. My fan speed, I run that right around between 32 and 3300. And this one shows me if my clutch is engaged on my air cart. So these are just things that I watch all the time. Make sure that it's seating properly. And about ready to turn. So it's nice to see on this, I can see, okay, I'm coming up on the turn I need to make pretty soon here. So every time I turn around, there's a whole sequence that I gotta do. When I'm getting to the end, I turn the steering wheel to disengage the auto steer. Hit the first button back, pull back to lift up my air seeder. And then I spin around. You'll see there I'm on a white line. This line shifts every time I go over. So I'll go over to the next blue line, get it lined up, and I press my little button to engage my auto steer, and then I lock my air seeder in again. I can give you a little view of what it's like to go through with that whole sequence. We're just coming up on a turn up here. But you get good at it after you do it 10, 15, a couple 100,000 times this season. Well, it's time to head home for the night. It's 3:30 in the morning, but got quite a bit done. After this, finishing this field, or what I have left in this field and the next field, I have right about 200 acres left to go. So they're talking rain for tomorrow, so, well, I guess today. So I guess we'll see what happens there. Otherwise, got some rock rolling to get caught up on in this field, so we'll get done whatever we can, but we'll see what the weather dictates. Otherwise, checked the seed depth and everything looked like it was good spacing, good depth and everything, so we'll call it a night and go get a little bit of rest. Have a good night. And just like that, it's morning time. We're gonna get some fuel loaded up in our little transport tank over here. And then we're gonna take that down to the tractor, get it all filled up and keep going, hopefully finish that quarter. My cousin Matt's gonna come. He's got some time this morning, so he's gonna run the rock roller for me behind me, and we're gonna see if we can get all caught up and possibly move to the next field. It looks like rain isn't supposed to come till afternoon sometime, so we'll push it till we get rained out. So this tank is about 100 gallons roughly, and I got about a third of a tank left on the Cat. So that thing holds around 125 gallons, so this should pretty much fill it up. Give me plenty to finish this field and move to the next field and start there. So the next field is about 12 miles away, so it's a little bit of a jog, but that's the last one that I got planned. And now to start pumping for a while. It doesn't take as long as it seems, but still gotta pump it.
Got that thing all filled up. And I actually made sure to put the cap back on the fuel tank. I've done that before on one of my other tractors. Then you got to do the walk of shame and go to John Deere and buy a whole nother cap for it. So everything's ready to go. We'll get planting.